Now, one Democratic congressman who actually voted to impeach Donald Trump also blasted Bellows, writing, quote, "We are a nation of laws. Therefore, until Trump is actually found guilty of the crime of insurrection, which is not going to happen, he should be allowed on the ballot." Now, make no mistake, this creates a dangerous new precedent that will come back to haunt the Democratic Party. But we do hope Sheena Bellows enjoys her 15 minutes of fame. I don't know if I hope she does. But here now with more, Fox News contributor, former House Speaker, Speaker of the House, of course, Newt Gingrich. Speaker Gingrich, thank you so much for being with me tonight. You know, your experience speaks for itself. And your insight about the nature of all the things that we've seen in this country is invaluable. But this has really, with all the things we would have expected of the left and of the Democrats, this really does jump the shark, if you will. Tell me your thoughts on what we've been experiencing.
Well, I think we need to refocus on what's happening. There's too much talk about the war against Trump. This is not a war against Trump. This is a war against the American people. You see that with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's talked about the fact that the left wants an oligarchy to run everything, and they won't allow him to compete.
Right.
You see it if you talk to the people at No Labels, who've been working very hard to obey the rules and may well be on all 50 ballots. And in every state, they've had Democrats try to keep them off the ballot. And think about it. The attack in Colorado is not on Donald Trump. The attack's on the 1,300,000 Coloradans who voted for him. The attack in Maine is not on Donald Trump. He carried the Northern District of Maine. So this is an attack on every person in the Northern District of Maine. And I think we need to be very clear. You know, if you're Jewish, you probably shouldn't be too open about it at Harvard or Columbia because you'll get punished. If you actually believe that there are only two sexes, you probably shouldn't say it too openly because you'll get punished. And go down the list. You have a totalitarian left, and the assault on the American people, they cannot survive if you have a free and fair election. And so they're devoting huge amounts of money. I mean, if we had a news media worthy of the effort, they would be out right now finding out from Soros to every other left-wing group how much money is being poured into trying to radically change this country, and the numbers would be staggering. And all of it isn't an attack on Donald J. Trump. It's an attack on the American people. He happens to be the vehicle for their desire for real change. But what they're terrified of is not just Trump. It's the underlying nature of the American people and their desire for a patriotic country based on solid values.
Excellent point, because obviously if you can't vote for the person that you like, that is the strike at the individual engaged in this process, separate from Donald Trump, that it is about what we understand our system to be, about this republic we have, and about us being the boss and making these choices. And so, you know, we know we speak about funding. We know a left-wing group funded the lawsuit. It was a case that got to the Colorado Supreme Court. And of course, Maine, there was no case. This was just a declaration. And there are more states considering doing this. This also happened when we still had 3 Democrats on that Colorado Supreme Court dissent. Now, that makes me feel that there is some hope, that there are Democrats who are also seeing this as a problem. What do you make of that? Because this clearly seems to be organized by something larger than each state alone.
Well, I mean, look, it's clear. There's a nationwide left-wing movement of radicals who want open borders. They want to abolish teaching American history. They want to impose on second, third, and fourth graders a series of sexual choices that most people think is irrational. Just go down the list. And these people are all connected to each other. They're all funded by people like Soros. They're all funded by the Ford Foundation and a whole range of other. The elites collectively want to somehow radically change America and subordinate it to a larger global system. And they're doing everything they can. The New York Times is sort of their primary cheerleader. The Washington Post is a secondary cheerleader. But these folks all are determined to destroy the America that you and I grew up in and replace it with a remarkably different country. And part of what's happening is, and Trump happens to be the person who polarizes it, but what's happening is huge numbers of Americans are saying enough. And the
Right.
result is, I think, that the Democrats are now in increasing trouble because they're so clearly the party of outrageous anti-American behavior.
You know, this is what's striking, though, as well, as I guess it's just that they've continually underestimate the American people or really have a contempt for the nature of, maybe not in L.A. and New York, but in that great middle space of a nation that has saved the world many times over. The people who live in anonymity, work hard, you know, farm, create things, run production, and are quiet about it. It seems, and this is heartening as well, that those individuals are constantly underestimated and spat upon by the cosmopolitan elite in this country.
Well, you had two great examples, and I'm trying to remember the word, you'll remember it. Hillary's term, for all the rest of us
Irredeemable.
who are too conservative to understand.
Irredeemable.
Yeah, we're irredeemable. And then remember Barack Obama at a fundraiser in San Francisco talking about small towns in Pennsylvania where people cling to their guns and their Bible.
That's right.
I mean, the level of contempt for everyday Americans was astonishing. And by the way, that has further polarized the country. And I think you're going to see the left become a smaller and smaller part of the American scene.
Well, that is perhaps one of the silver linings here. This had to happen, and I'm lucky that you're here with us, and thank you very much for your insights, sir.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.